even if that sector or that role is not what you had perceived that you would be doing after MBA, give it some time, give it a chance, and there's a lot of probability that it will grow on you and you will tend to enjoy. So at least I mean, don't be closed in your mindset that I definitely don't want to get into this. But if possible, approach it with an open mind. At least understand what your role is, what the organization is doing.
Greetings, everyone. Today I am back with another podcast with Mr. Shrey. Hello, sir.
Hi Ushman.
It's really good to have you on board, sir, today. So, sir, before we start, can you just give our audience a brief introduction about yourself?
Sure. So, my name is Shrey. I'm from Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh, and I've done my BTech from VIT Vellore. Post that, I did my MBA from SCMHRD in Pune, which is like a top college under the Symbiosis umbrella. I did my MBA in marketing. Passed out in 2016,
Mhm.
and then after that, I joined Wipro from campus in 2016. Played various roles. I was there for close to 6 years. Last month I moved to a smaller product-based organization called Uniphore to continue my professional journey. So I've done my schooling, and my formative years were spent in Uttar Pradesh. But then I've like traveled across the country. I've spent 4 years in Vellore. I've done my internship in Mumbai with an FMCG firm called Pidlite, which makes Fevicol. Then I was in Pune for my MBA, and then I spent some time in Gurgaon, and eventually settled in Bangalore. So it's been close to 4 years that I'm in Bangalore. So relatively well traveled within India, different cities. Um, yeah, so that is a brief introduction about myself.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, sir. So, sir, moving on to the next question that we have, and that is that, sir, can you tell us something about your, the certain visions or goals that you had till date, which helped, shape your life or your achievements till date?
Sure. So, I would say I was always very curious about the world, and um, different how different businesses work, how different organizations function. And I had this curiosity even when I was in school. So I used to read up a lot on different stuff. And I the company that I had, so it was all people who are very motivated, determined, and I would say intellectually inclined, academically inclined. So that company kind of drove me to explore a lot more about the world in general, about how corporates work, about how even different areas like say literature or media, culture, all of that. And then eventually, like, it happens that uh, we, people join the engineering bandwagon. It used to be a much more prevalent trend 10, 12 years back, when I was kind of in my uh, class 10 and class 12, and those years. So it was very hot, and all the most people were joining that bandwagon, and I too did that. And then again, I was fortunate enough to be part of college, part of VIT, wherein I again had a great peer group, people from diverse backgrounds, and again, people who were intellectually inclined. And that company, again, like, the exchange of ideas and learning from peers. So that and then I realized that, okay, I want to explore the softer parts of business, and not the hard technical skills. And I decided to do my MBA, wherein again I was very fortunate to have a great peer group. So I would say through the course of my journey, a major part of it has been shaped by the people that I have interacted with, be it the colleagues in my organization, or different people that I've met right from school. I've been fortunate enough to have learned from them, exchanged ideas from them. And like I have had a lot of very enlightening conversations with a lot of people that I still remember, and I really enjoy those conversations. And I would feel a lot of what I have kind of achieved till now is majorly you can attribute it to the people, and the exchange of ideas and the learning that I've had from them. And I feel that even going forward, major part of my success would be driven by the people, the leaders that I work for, the mentors that I have, and the peer group.
Great, great. It's lovely to hear that. So, since we have already, heard a little story about how your learnings through the peers were. So then, sir, let's go back to the little, previous parts of it. That how, sir, just to recall the fact that after your BTech completion, you directly went for the MBA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sir, then, how was the preparation for the examination? I believe it was SNAP, right, for SMHRD.
Correct, correct. So I had applied for all major examinations. So I applied for CAT, SNAP, IFT, ZAT, all of those. Um, I mean the good part with me was that I was clear, in the second year of my engineering, that I wanted to pursue an MBA degree. And uh, that is where I see myself. I had that clarity of thought not many people do have. So but preparations in earnest, they started only from the second half of the third year. So I joined a coaching center called IMS, which was very close to my college. um, so yeah, I would say a slight disadvantage was that, because Vellore is not in a mainstream like tier 1 city, you don't have a lot of options to choose from with respect to coaching centers. And online coaching was not that big as it is now. You had uh, very few centers would offer holistic full-fledged courses online, and the quality would also not be up to the mark. So I joined IMS. I think the important part was appearing for a lot of tests, which basically give that edge to your preparation, and being familiar with different formats, because Snap was a totally different format. IFT is again different, ZAT
Yeah.
and CAT. And CAT was, I think it was the first year when they were having adaptive tests, like online tests, and adaptive questions that were coming, similar to GMAT. So um, it was, I felt that because I had appeared for five or more practice tests for each of the formats, I was comfortable. And um, the, I think 70 or 80% of the preparation for B school entrance exams is dependent on the quality of tests, and the insights that you can get out from those tests, rather than doing a lot of theoretical study, solving a lot of problems, but you know doing it in a time bound manner, and according to the different formats that are the major exams that they have. I think that is the real differentiator. So I did a lot of that. I had I qualified IFT entrance exam. Snap, again I had 99 plus. I had applied for NMAT as well, again I had like 99 plus. CAT was, I would say, 96 plus, 96.7. And then ZAT, I didn't do that well. So I did not get any calls for ZAT from either XLRI or XIMD. But yeah, I mean, but I'm pretty sure that all of this was 8 or 9 years back. So I'm pretty sure things have changed a lot with respect to the entrance examinations, and the kind of profiles that they're looking out for. So I'm not sure if it will be 100% relevant in the current day and age, but yeah, this is the experience that I had
Great, great,
8 or 9 years back. Yeah.
great, sir. Sir, since you spoke about you said something about a clarity that you had, like from a very beginning, you knew what you had to do. But sir, nowadays, apparently, maybe because of the ongoing pandemic, or I don't know, something that has played into the minds of the people. But there is a sudden, I don't know, spike in the MBA courses. I mean, a lot of people are now are now thinking that life में MBA तो करना ही है. So, sir, like it's more like a peer pressure now, and not just that clarity thinking that you were speaking about. So, sir, what are your views on that? Like, is that mindset okay for MBA? Will it be sufficient?
So I would say that every 5 or 10 years there are certain industries that do well, and there are like certain courses that will do well. So for example, 10-15 years back, engineering was like really hot, and all the people were flocking towards doing engineering from top colleges. Um, with respect to industry, 5 or 10 years back, e-commerce was really hot, and all the talent was flocking there. Before that, you had the IT organizations doing well. Now with COVID, and for the next some years, I think pharma as a sector would be doing well. So it's all topical and seasonal, right? And uh, y- MBAs traditionally, if you do it from top colleges, like the top 50 colleges in India, they pay you well, pay you above the market rate, and that is a fact, and you can't deny that. And that is what makes it very lucrative. And even the aspirants or the students,
Mm,
if I talk very frankly, they're looking at good placements, and good placements, even though a good job offer has a lot of components, but it just translates to the compensation that we are getting, very bluntly. And
right.
especially people who are very early in their career, they equate success with compensation, right? Which I feel is a very narrow way to look at it. And I myself have kind of come from that mentality, from that mindset. But I would say, to be successful in any career, you need to be passionate about what you're doing, and you need to be able to do the same thing over and over again consistently, and rise through the ranks. And then the second part to it is that in the current day and age, a lot of a lot of jobs that are available in the market, they were not existing say 5 or 10 years back. And a lot of jobs that were existing 10 years back are becoming obsolete
Right.
now,
Right.
right? And there are a lot of jobs that are based on skills and not on your degree. So for example, earlier you could get plum marketing roles only if you did an MBA from a top college. Now people who've done BTechs and they are skilled in a particular aspect of marketing, say digital marketing, SEO, SEM, etc.
Mm,
They're able to get those jobs easily, because they've done some courses, they have that knowledge. And companies are very open to having people who might not have the degree, but they have the skills. So
right.
skill based learning has become much more important.
Mm,
And I think it's only going to increase in the next 5 to 10 years. And any area you pick, if you're not constantly learning, constantly updating yourself, and you're not passionate about what you're doing, you'll hit a ceiling and you'll not be able to grow. Whereas on the other side, even if you don't have a degree, but you're learning, you have skills, you can do better than someone maybe who has a degree, but doesn't have the motivation and doesn't have the know-how. So my advice or my 2 cents here would be to be uh, to be passionate about, just first step is to introspect and see what makes you happy, and not worry about the kind of organizations that you can work with, the kind of opportunities you'll have. Because even if it's a niche skill within HR, so for example, one of my friends, he's into compensation and benefits, which is like a very niche skill within HR, and there are only a limited organizations that so for example, Wipro, where I worked with, they had like 2 lakh employees, and only 15 to 20 people who are managing compensation and benefits. But because he's good at it, he's done courses, he spent a lot of time. And even if it's niche, he's found his way, and he'll do very well. Whereas even if you are in an area that is growing and there's a lot of scope, but if you don't enjoy it personally,
mm,
um, you'll find someone who will overtake you. So I would say all career paths, all functions, they have a lot of growth to afford you, but you need to be in line with uh, the expectations that that role has to offer. Next, you need to do the hard yards, get your hands dirty, and do it consistently, and then the rewards compound over a period of time. So I would say introspect, see if you really enjoy doing something, and then when you're doing, you just constantly be sincere, network with people, and keep at it, and you will succeed. There are no two ways about it. So I've not I've spent like close to 6 years in the corporate world. I've not seen people who are serious, who are passionate, not doing well. So it is bound to happen. If your process is right, and I would say not look for instant gratification, instant rewards, and not look at your career only from the lens of the immediate job opportunity that you have, but to look at it in the form of 3 year or 5 year blocks, and plan for the next 3 years, plan for the next 5 years. If you keep that horizon, you will do well, because a lot of variables that go into um, defining what a successful job or what a successful career looks like.
Yeah.
So I would say to keep a broad mind and plan for the next 5 years,
Mhm.
and do the process right, do the hard yards right. That is a recipe for sure shot success.
Great, sir. That was very insightful, and I think it's a great tip that you have given to all the viewers. Thank you so much for that, sir. Sir, moving on to the next question. That is you went into your B school just after your B Tech. But sir, thing is that did you have marketing as an only option for you from the very beginning, or did you like go in the B school and then explore a little bit and then found your best fit?
Sure. So, luckily for me, I knew that I had to get into marketing. And, that was because, in my engineering, I had started a blog where I used to write about sports and politics. It was called Sporty Politics. And then, I wanted to kind of promote that blog, market that blog. And, that's why I got a little interested in digital marketing. And then, kind of read up more on it. And then I realized that I want to do marketing as a profession, and something that I have to get involved in.
Mhm.
Finance is, I mean, just in my personal opinion, it's technical, and you need to be technically sound to kind of do justice to that role. Yeah, too technical for my liking, so I was never like very interested. I was interested to learn, but I thought that marketing would be something that would be more up my alley, so to say. HR was again something that I was seriously considering, because like my college was one of the top colleges that offer HR courses in India after
Yeah.
say XLRI, and from a recruitment standpoint, from faculty and syllabus standpoint, it would have been great. But then I thought that my real interest is marketing. So and then the fourth specialization that we had in our college was supply chain, which again is say an extension of industrial engineering or production engineering that is taught, right? And again you need to be technically sound in order to do justice to that role. So I didn't want to kind of do that, go from one technical course to the other, and that was something very personal to me. It can be completely different from someone else. I
Mhm.
mean, that is how my mind work and my thought process was. So it was between picking HR and marketing. But because I had some exposure to marketing beforehand, and I had read up uh, articles, spoken to people, and I realized that okay, this is something that I am passionate about. And it would be wrong to say that I knew completely what to expect once I get into marketing and get into day to day working. But yeah, I mean, I had some sense, and I was determined to do justice to what my thought process was, and that is the best that you can do, because
Right.
even if I would have say picked finance, I would not have known for sure, the kind of job that I would be doing. Because even for the same role, different organizations have different processes, different working styles, different um, learning opportunities. So until unless you actually step into the corporate world and spend some time, you it's still an unknown entity, and you can't prepare yourself fully. It's just that you can be mentally strong, that you will be disciplined, and you will do the hard yards consistently, and um, that is the best you can do. So anyone who tells you that they know exactly what they would be doing once they get into a corporate, I think they're lying. Because unless and until you spend significant amount of time, you don't know what's coming in.
Correct. So, sir, honestly, like when you were in the B school, you were pursuing your specialization that you were passionate about. So, since I am also a person who is pursuing a PGDM in management, so the thing is that I hope you can relate to this. I'm also a fresher, and as freshers, we have certain notions about what the corporate world is going to be and how it is going to treat us. But after you joined the corporate world, it has been almost 6 years since you are in that world. So, sir, was there a huge difference between what you thought it would be and what it actually was, or was it more or less, same?
So I would say, and this is with the benefit of hindsight, is that don't have any conception about, what corporate world would be like and what it would have to offer. You just go with an open mind, right? And things are very different in different industries. Banking is different, manufacturing is different, technology is different, FMCG is again very different. And even within those industries, different organizations have different working styles. See, one thing that I can say for sure is that especially for early stage professionals, the focus should be on execution, and doing transactional activities a lot, and not just because you've done an MBA, don't think that you'll get to strategize, and you will have a seat at the table with respect to
Yeah.
high level strategy. That is definitely not going to happen in any industry. So you would be the one who be executing stuff,
Hmm.
and believe me, that will offer the best learning. Because once you're doing the same thing over and over again for the next 2 to 4 years, only then would you be able to make good judgments with respect to strategy, and what processes to follow, how to you know um, how to kind of go about strategizing stuff. It will mostly be tactical stuff. It would be the hard grind. Day to day activities would be, it will be all about execution, speed of execution, and following the mandate that has been given to you by the management.
Yeah.
And there should be no disconnect with respect to that. Because a lot of my friends, even myself, we were disillusioned when we joined corporate world. Because we study a lot of theoretical concepts in B schools, and we think that we'll get an opportunity to apply all of that when we enter corporate, and we'll be making a lot of difference to the top line, to the bottom line. So that doesn't happen. You're just another cog in the wheel. There are so many employees who are who've been there before you. And even if to be honest, even if you're not there, it'll function just as smoothly. So you have to kind of establish your place, get that credibility from the management, from your teammates, get that respect. And that will only come through doing the hard yards. And only once you have that, would you be able to command a seat at the decision making table, and where the real MBA knowledge would come into play. And more than any theoretical concepts, it is about common sense. All management jobs are about applying your mind, applying common sense, and being very fast with execution, right? And it's not as if you won't be able to learn particular concepts, or it's not going to be theoretical. It will be very practical, something that would work in a work for an organization, something that has worked will continue to work for them. And you have to just be we come with an open mind, and do as you're told, observe, and not try to apply theoretical concepts that we learn, because running an actual business is very different than say studying about running a business in an ideal world. And there are like so many variables involved,
Hmm.
while working, be it you're working in finance or marketing or HR, that there's no one single template that you can refer to that will serve you well. So the only thing that will serve you well is approaching any job with an open mind,
Hmm.
and you know executing stuff and applying common sense.
Absolutely.
uh, that will go a long way in giving you success in your corporate journey.
So it's basically like being ready for the hustle, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, being ready for the hustle, and not not getting too bothered by the frameworks and
Right.
the rules, etc., that we learn, because all of that will not apply in the real world. So being ready for the hustle, being very hands on, very spontaneous, and being very practical about stuff,
Right.
uh, and understanding where your place lies within the whole corporate setup.
Hmm.
How are you positioned within your team, and what you can do to help the cause, help the larger cause,
Hmm.
help your manager succeed, help your manager reach his goals. If you're doing that, you're automatically setting yourself up for success. um, you know Another, since I'm talking about this, another advice I would give is being very nice and respectful to people, not only in your teams but also different teams, because those people would be uh, because it's all a zero sum game with respect to respect. You get what you give, right? So if you don't compete with people, something again, as B school students, we are always competing for good marks, for good placements, right? And that spirit sometimes gets the better of us. I would say in the corporate world, it's never a competition. And be it very lean startups or be it very large matrix organizations, you need to work well with people in order to do your job well. And
Okay.
uh, it's very important not to compete with them, but do your best to help them. And if you do that, genuinely you'll get a lot of help and mentorship from people around you, which is invaluable. So uh, I would say it's good to kind of leave that competitive edge back at your B school once you step into corporate, and just look to help people, even if they're not directly involved in what you're doing, but that comes back to you, and those relationships will last a very long time, even after you've moved out of that organization.
Right.
You can reach back to them to get some advice, guidance, etc. So yeah, that would be another observation that might help help people.
Thank you so much, sir. It definitely will help a lot of aspirants. It will definitely help me personally speaking. Thank you so much for that. So, sir, moving on to the next question, that is there any particular skill or unique skill, I would say, that is required for your stream or particularly your domain?
So see, marketing is again, I would say there are not many hard skills, but it's very important to understand where the business is headed, and within the marketing mix, what you can do to kind of further push the business to grow, add to that momentum. Um, so uh, and obviously be constantly, because marketing has changed a lot in the last 10 to 15 years. Print advertising has again shrunk a lot. Of digital native advertising is what we're seeing, and then it's bound to change in the next 5 to 10 years as well. So very important to stay relevant with what the latest trends are. Talking to people within different organizations,
So,
within the same industry, even different industries, reading up a lot, doing a lot of courses, on say LinkedIn or Udemy, etc. Even that helps. And uh, nowadays, what has happened, and especially in the last 4 to 5 years, there is so much of information on the internet. It's almost been democratized across channels. YouTube has fantastic content, not only on marketing but other aspects of business as well. LinkedIn, as a medium, has, I think, grown a lot. You have a lot of influencers who are really knowledgeable, and they're putting out great content. So setting aside some time each day to go through content which is specifically for um upgradation and upliftment of your skill, that is not directly related to your job, but related to uh, marketing as a function, or if someone is in HR or finance as a function, just that, I think that that really helps keep your knowledge up to speed. And you can get a lot of ideas about how you can do your job better, and then you apply it to practical situations, and that's how you grow as an individual, and your organization also benefits. So it's a win-win sort of a situation. And because management jobs are not very hardcore technical jobs. It's not as if you need to you need to be very technically sound, or you need to pass certain examinations to kind of do your job well. It's more about being very practical, being very hands on. And I would say, again, an underrated aspect with respect to management jobs is working with people, right? And establishing good rapport, good relationships, because a lot of times you would be required to get stuff done from people. Different teams have to collaborate for you know for us to get the objectives met. And that will happen only when you have a great working relationship with people from different teams, who can then uh, respect what you want, and you respect what they want, and you kind of meet your objectives because of those relationships. And it's a lot about people, people management, stakeholder management, understanding what makes people tick, what keeps people giving them the respect that they deserve, and also trying to influence people without authority. So you might need to get stuff done from people who are 4 or 5 levels higher up, so you don't have authority over them, but you want to influence their decisions as well, and that would impact the work that you're doing. So I would say that's an underrated aspect, but um, it's very, very important to have that relationship with people, have that connect, and uh, that would make your job much more easier.
Thank you so much, sir, again. So moving on to the next question, you have been a part of your current organization, Wipro, for almost 6 years. So, sir, and you have also been a part of various roles, if I'm not wrong. So, sir, how has the journey been? Like almost a 6 years with different roles. How has it served you?
Sure. So, the journey has been very rewarding. I would say I've evolved a lot over the last 6 years as a professional, right? And that is the beauty of working in the corporate in today's day and age, where you're not stereotyped or bucketed into a particular role, but you have that opportunity to work across functions, work across teams, and learn and explore what makes you happy, introspect, and you know discover your passion. And then you kind of try to further that, and explore different nuances within that particular function. So as you said, within Wipro, I've always been part of demand generation and the marketing function, which is again like very different from B2C marketing setup. But the objective is business development, and helping the sales team succeed. So working very closely with sales. But I've had exposure to working across different geographies, working with different leaders, and working in different setups, different ecosystems. And that is something that I'm seeing happen across organizations, that within that organization, people are working across different functions. You could be working for say a bank, and you could be working as a relationship manager for 2 years, and then you realize that no, I want to be a credit analyst, and gravitate towards that.
Mm.
You do that, you enjoy yourself, and then you explore your opportunities further. And it's even better if it's a leaner organization, and like a lot of mid-sized and small organizations that have come up recently, they're doing really well. They're hiring a lot of B school students as well.
Yeah.
So the good thing is, in these organizations, you have to wear multiple hats. You have to work with engineering, you have to work with sales, you have to work with marketing, customer success,
Mm.
all different teams. And you can explore your interests in a leaner setup much more, much more easily. There's not much red tape, not many layers or hierarchy.
Mhm.
And that is something, I think that is something wonderful, that it's not as if you are and that's what I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, that we are gravitating towards a skill based economy and a skill based ecosystem, wherein if you have the knowledge, if you are interested, you are passionate, people will give you a chance. And a lot of people who've done like engineering, they're working as HRs, as marketeers. People who've done marketing, they're doing sales, and people who've done supply chain are again doing marketing, and there are like so many of them. So uh, it's all about being passionate about a particular area, possessing some skills and getting that opportunity. And then as young professionals, it's it's not certain that okay, if you entered as a marketing manager, it's 5 years down the line you could be doing something completely different. And that could be either due to your own interests and the opportunities that you get, or it could be by design. The organizations, they undergo a lot of restructuring,
Right.
right? And then you have to fit into the roles that are offered to you, and you could be doing something different. So again, very important to keep an open mind. And this is a given that if you spend say 5 years or 10 years in the corporate world, you would not be doing the same thing. You would be, if you're doing the same thing, the responsibilities would be expanded. So if you are taking care of marketing for a region, that region might get expanded, your product portfolio might get expanded, you might be handling a team, right? And then if you're doing marketing, say 5 years down the line, in addition to marketing, there might be some aspect of sales that you might have to do, or some aspect of HR that you might have to do. And that is the way of the world, of the corporate world, even more so in the current context. And you have to be prepared, and you have to welcome that opportunity with both hands once you get that. But you know uh, you definitely grow, evolve a lot over your stint, and it will be very different than what you started with, right out of these two.
Amazing answer. So, coming back to B School, uh, MBA programs all over the country, I think, they have this part of the curriculum which is known as the summer internship program. So, sir, the summer internship program, usually, let's say more than 60 or 70% of the entire batch, they get into the internships of their own, preferred domain. But there are certain people who don't get selected for their own like preferred domain, so they have to do internship for that particular period in some other domain. Suppose a marketing guy going into finance, or a finance guy into marketing, vice versa. So for those people who are unable to bag their preferred internship and they're doing an internship in different domain, uh, what can they do? Like, is it going to be a hard playing factor for them in the final placement, or what exactly is going to work for them?
Sure. So, see, even 7 years back, when I was doing my summer internship, there were a lot of people who, never wanted to get into a bank, or,
Mhm.
they always wanted FMCG, but they got into say IT or any other sector.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's not as if you'll get stuck with that sector forever. um, there's always the final placements that come, and even if you get a PPO in a sector that you don't want, you can move across sectors, across functions, and people at very senior levels are also doing that. So there's no reason why early stage professionals can't do that. um, I would say it also has to, there are two parts to it, right? See, one is, even if that sector or that role is not what you had perceived that you would be doing after MBA, give it some time, give it a chance, and there's a lot of probability that it will grow on you and you will tend to enjoy. So at least don't be closed in your mindset that I definitely don't want to get into this. But if possible, approach it with an open mind. At least understand what your role is, what the organization is doing, what is expected out of you. Give it some time, and you 6 months or a year is too short a time frame to evaluate if you like something or not. So give it some time, right? And then if you don't like it, and if you have your eyes set on a different role, a different industry, I would say do some gain a lot of knowledge about that role. Talk to people who are in those roles that you aspire to. Connect with them over LinkedIn. Lot people are very receptive. On LinkedIn you'll get help. Join communities. So you have like a lot of professional communities um, on LinkedIn, on Slack, informal communities as well. Network with a lot of people, understand, and be very consistent, and try and apply for opportunities, and read up a lot and have some knowledge. And it is only a matter of time that you land up a role. It might not initially be up to uh, right up to the standards that you have set for yourself. The compensation might be lower, or the industry might, the organization might not be a top player in that industry, etc. But it's a start, right? And you can always grow and go on to take up those roles that you are aspiring for. But it's a start. So don't just look for say compensation or organization brand, but look for that role, get that exposure, and then you eventually succeed. So um, see, one thing is for certain, and when I was doing my MBA, even I was very apprehensive. I had a lot of questions. But one thing I can say for sure is that if you are consistent and you are really disciplined in what you want to do, you are disciplined in reaching out to people, reading up on your craft, networking, and applying for opportunities, you will get what you want. I've never seen a single person who was serious, who was sincere, not getting what they want. So it's only a matter of time. For some it might take 3 months, for some it might take an year, or even maybe more than that. But you will eventually land in the current with the role, which is right for you, which you have always been looking for. uh, just that you don't get disheartened if you don't get a role, or an organization of your choice.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep at it. And don't look at your career from the lens of instant gratification in the next 6 months or 1 year, but plan for the next 3 to 5 years. And you'll end up doing very well for yourself. And it might be and people also change over time. So as a professional, um, what gives you satisfaction now might bore you to death 3 years down the line, and you might want to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
So today, as early stage professionals, you want to get into FMCG, do sales, go to tier 3 towns, and do the hustle. But 5 years down the line, you might get married, you might have a you might have different obligations, and you might want to work in a completely different setup, completely different ecosystem. So uh, it's not as if uh, you, in your perceived mind, you get something that you want now. It's not as if it's going to keep you happy for the next 30 years. It
Right.
will never be like that, because you yourself would change, the market would change, and you would want something else. And people are always looking for growth. And that growth can be in terms of compensation or role, but it can also be in terms of maybe work life balance, or maybe working in industry that is hot, and not working in an industry that is become mature and that is on a decline, right? So I would say not read too much into summer internships or final placements, etc. But just enjoy the moment, network with as many people as you can, consume as much content as you can. And in the current day and age, the markets have realized that skills and degrees or pedigree are two different things. So there are very very limited organizations, I think only the top consulting firms who hire only from a specific colleges, or
Yes.
specific percentages, etc. Otherwise, it's an open field. People look for passion, people look for sincerity. All the other things can be taught by organizations. So, and even at senior levels, people are moving, changing functions, changing industries, changing roles. And it's even more, people are more receptive now than 7 years back when I had started my corporate journey. So nothing to worry, with respect to summer placements or even final placements, or even if you work for 2 or 5 years in an organization, you don't need to worry. And I can get exactly where you're coming from, because I used to have similar apprehensions when I had joined, but I have seen like so many people move across so many organizations. People who worked in unknown organizations are now working in Amazon, Google, etc., and doing really well for themselves. So you never know, when it clicks for you. And when it clicks, it rains. When it pours, it rains, right? So the only thing is, be disciplined and network with people. I think those are the only two or three things that you need to keep in mind to have a rich and fulfilling corporate journey.
Thank you so much, sir. I think this answer of yours definitely brought a lot of positivity in the entire, mentality of all the viewers. So thank you so much for that. Sir, you are mentioning about networking. So, a lot of people don't really understand what this actually means. Some people think that LinkedIn, I'm using LinkedIn, I'm sending a connection request, I got connected, so it's done. Is it done? Or like things?
Uh, Yeah. So see, I would say LinkedIn is definitely a major part of the networking game that professionals have to be part of. Um, so when you are networking, it means that networking with your peers, and also with seniors, also with people who are posting content regularly, right? Because, and then when reaching out to people, just don't send connection requests, because a lot of time it would not be accepted. But just drop in a personalized note, saying that, okay, I am from such and such college, working here in this role. I came across your profile, you seem very interesting, or I like a lot of content that you post, and I want to get connected. And the odds of them accepting your request become that much higher. So uh, networking across the board, and not limiting yourself to say people from your college, or people from your industry, or people who are within a certain age group, but networking across the board. And then also engaging with them. So um, uh, liking and commenting on their posts, for example, or sharing interesting thoughts, without any exterior motive, without anything, without expecting anything in return, but just contributing to the community. And then uh, building, or engaging with them, so that you build a relationship that you can leverage when the time is right. But, and also be willing to help people,
Mhm.
right? So there might be a lot of people who would want to seek your help with respect to, say, warm introductions, or guidance in general, guidance on how to get into B schools, or etc. So connecting with them, giving them your your inputs, And then it comes a full circle. So I would say networking has to be done without expecting anything in return in the short term. But once you have a sizable network, once you helped enough people, once you asked for help from enough people, you have a large pool of people to fall back on, rely on, be it with respect to job opportunities, or with respect to guidance, mentorship. The second part of networking is very important to have good relationships with your peer group within your organization, and especially your manager and their manager. Very important to have a mentor, right? And uh, you know constantly seeking feedback on what you can do differently, how you can grow.
Right.
And even other parts of work so just getting their inputs on how you can manage your work life better,
Right.
or how learning from the journey of leaders in your organization, that is again uh, networking that can stand you in good stead as and when you progress through the corporate world. So uh, and then LinkedIn has like a lot of communities which are very specific to roles, functions, organizations, etc. So joining that, engaging with people, and you don't need to invest significant time and effort, but it's something that compounds over time. So you do it diligently for say 15 minutes every day,
Mhm.
and by the end of 1 year, you see the magic. You're connected to say 5,000 people on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
A lot of people are engaging with your content. You talk to your manager for 15 minutes every month, right? And then over a period of 1 year, you would have gained so many unique insights which you otherwise would not have. And all of that cumulatively will give you a lot of confidence, lot of clarity in terms of what you want to do
Right.
with your career specifically. But you'll also get to know how to handle the finer aspects of working in the corporate world, like balancing your work life, or uh, balancing getting promotions when you are due for them,
Mhm.
um, you know etc. So but very important to ask, very important to execute, and you know uh, take action rather than sitting back and hoping for things to work out.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that is also something that kind of broke the usual notion that freshers or people who are new on LinkedIn they had. So thank you so much for that, sir. Now the upcoming question, it is a little on a personal basis, and that is it revolves around the HRs. Okay, and sir, since you are from a college that is known for a lot for a good HR faculty and HR specialization. So, sir, this is something that I have personally noticed, and that is this particular specialization. I believe is like very much misunderstood. Misunderstood in the sense that people think that the work of HRs are easy. In fact, sir, giving you a very small personal insight on this. Uh, in my college also, since I am an HR enthusiast, so often what happens is that my peers, my friends, just as a joke or something, अरे HR का तो काम होता है कि रंगोली बनाना, इवेंट ये करना, मालूम है कितना तुम लोग क्या करोगे. So though it's a joke, but sometimes I feel, or my fellow batchmates who are willing to go for the HR specialization, they feel a little like short from the appropriate appreciation or the appropriate kind of respect that the other specializations have. So, sir, what are your views on this? Is this the your perception on what HRs actually do?
Sure. So, I mean, see, it is unfortunate, and the thing is that once you have a stereotype and something clicks, it carries on. HRs might work the most out of say different functions, but you still see them as only not adding too much value, engaging in activities that you know decorations and like you said, making rangolis, etc. See, it's very important to understand that you know managing people, and especially like going forward when it would be hybrid working environments, distributed working, managing people is going to be that much more critical. And um, HR is again divided into five or six sub functions, right? So you have a business HR, right, who would typically engage with people, help them understand the processes, etc. Then you have specialists who are doing talent acquisition, which is a whole different skill, right? Engaging with talent, like be it from B schools or campus hiring, or getting the top talent from the industry.
Yeah.
Then you have learning and development. You have organizational development. You have compensation and benefits, which is like a very niche skill.
Yeah.
Then you also have HR analytics,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is a technical function within HR, but up and coming like really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have a lot of organizations which are into HR, which are HR tech. Like you have ed tech or fintech or agri tech. You have HR tech as well, and there are a lot of organizations that are doing really well. So HR, they have multiple career paths within that HR umbrella. So you could be a business HR, or you could be into talent acquisition, you could be into compensation and benefits, and you'll be doing very different things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to understand that even within HR you could be doing a variety of things,
Yeah.
right? And trust me when I say this, I have like a lot of friends in HR. I have a lot of I know a lot of seniors, a lot of leaders who are doing really well for themselves. And I don't think that be it through any lens you view, it's not you can either right up there with the best, the HR leadership, or people in HR. So I would say it's a very promising area to be in,
Mm-hmm.
and it is going to stay, it's going to be relevant, because as long as people work in organizations, you need HRs. How they do their job would be, that is something which would evolve like all other functions.
Yeah.
So it's very important to stay on top of the game, be understand what are the best practices. Uh, See, the only thing is, whatever you're doing, you do it well. As long as you're doing that well, there will be multiple avenues for you to grow. And I don't say this to make people happy. It is a fact. I've seen this over and over again
Mm-hmm.
over the past 6 years. um, if you are in HR and you're doing your job well,
Yeah.
and you have in-depth knowledge, you'll always have multiple opportunities. And um, another aspect in HR, which other functions don't have, is they can move across industries.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, marketing in an FMCG is very different than marketing in a technology firm, which is very different than marketing in manufacturing or in a bank, right?
Right.
But a lot of HR folks, they're able to move from banks to technology to a plant role to FMCG, because essentially that functional knowledge
Mm-hmm.
is transferable, transcends industry. So from that point of view, the universe of organizations that you can work with is much larger than people in finance, who are only limited to the BFSI industry majorly. And then you have like corporate finance roles in FMCGs and technology, etc. So the opportunities are that much more. There are very few professionals who are into HR. It is sort of a niche skill. You don't have like too many HRs. You have like a lot of people in marketing, a lot of people in um, finance, and supply chain is also up and coming. You don't have too many people. So if you are good, that makes you that much more valuable. You get great brands to work with. You'll get great roles, and you'll also get good compensation. I know for a fact a lot of people are doing really well. And then again, tying it back to the earlier points that I made, if you are in an organization and you are doing well, in HR, right? You established credibility, you established good working relationships, and now you want to explore something else. You
Yeah.
want to get into say sales, or you want a strategy role.
Hmm.
All of that is also possible. A lot of people are doing that. So
Okay.
it's not as if, if you've done your MBA in HR, and you have like say 10 years of experience in HR, you are out of options. you know you understand how strategy works. For example, talk to people, show your passion. I'm
Hmm.
sure you'll get an opportunity to work in strategy, and then you can build from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
um, so I would say the possibilities are really endless.
Hmm.
See, 30 years back, how the job market was structured was, you do an engineering degree,
Hmm.
you join a factory,
Hmm.
and then you're doing the same thing over and over again for the next 30 years, and you are sorted, right? Nowadays, the pace of change
Hmm.
that has accelerated. So every 5 years, you see things have changed, you know, drastically,
Yeah.
and that pace of change is only going to increase over the next 5 to 10 years.
Hmm.
So nothing is final, nothing is set in stone. uh, the willingness that you have to learn, to be very nimble, flexible,
Hmm.
adapt to different working styles, different processes,
Hmm.
the more successful you will be. So I would say, just plan for the next 3 to 5 years. After that, even no one knows how the industry is going to shape up,
Absolutely.
how businesses would be conducted.
Yeah.
Now you have this web 3.0 coming up. I think in the next 10 years, that will have a major impact in how things are done. So as these changes happen,
Hmm.
one of our roles also change. We would be required to do very different things than what we are doing now.
Hmm.
And the degree or the experience that you have matter much less than how quickly you can adapt to the new ways of working. So I think that that is the number one skill that you can have. People who are more flexible, more um, who are quicker on their feet, are the ones who are going to survive and thrive in the next 5 to 10 years.
Thank you so much, sir. I think that has, personally, I'm speaking, that has given me like a lot of energy and boost, and also it was going to give our viewers as well. So thank you so much for that. Sir, coming to the last question of our segment today, and that is, uh, till now, starting from, let's say, your BTech, then your B school journey, then your almost 6 years at the current organization. Your journey has been some inspiring, and it was extremely insightful for me, for the viewers, everyone. But sir, uh, was there or were there any sort of setbacks or failures which you think actually played a very important part of your long-term success?
um, so I would not say that I've had like major setbacks. And right from my educational journey, at least I would not like to view them as setbacks. You obviously have ups and downs, but then I don't have a myopic lens when I view how my say educational stint panned out or my corporate journey panned out. I look at it in blocks, at least 2 to 3 year blocks at the very least.
Hmm.
And I have been very fortunate to have been surrounded by great people throughout. And there was some sort of conscious effort, some of it happened by design.
Hmm.
But I've had like great people to uh, fall back on, learn from, exchange ideas with.
Yeah.
And that has played a major role in it's the sum total of what I have achieved till now. And I'm pretty sure it will be in the next 5 to 10 years. um, Setbacks are very, I would say it's temporary.
Hmm.
Nothing, nothing that you can't overcome if you are disciplined and consistent. um, just that time might vary. You can hit gold in 3 months, or it can take you an year, maybe 2 years sometimes. But if you are consistent enough, on a regular basis, the 3 to 5 year blocks that I'm talking about, you'll do well. So, as an example, you might feel that okay, I deserve to be in an IM, but I have joined a college that is lower on the rankings, and now I can't be successful, or I can't match people who are passing out of IM ABC,
mm,
and that might be true for the next 3 years or 5 years, but then you don't know how these things work. The only formula for success is uh, being the best version of yourself, being passionate, and then seeing how life responds, where life takes you. And it's like really crazy where you can end up.
mm.
You never have imagined, and it's like magic. So uh, and at that time it is very difficult to focus, and you think that's like a very crazy idea that uh, you know I can't I can never be as good as so and so person who's from a top college, or is getting such and such compensation from such and such industry. But you never know. 5 years down the line things work very differently, 10 years down the line things work you know
Even
very differently. It's very important to put yourself out there, have confidence, have passion, and just be willing to learn. And you'll be amazed at the results you can get out of having this sort of an approach.
so much, sir. Thank you so much for that amazing answer again. And sir, before we part our ways, we need to share some thoughts on Grow Junction.
Yeah. So I think Grow Junction is doing a great job, the building communities of people who are passionate about different functions, especially in within management. And ed tech is something which is here to stay. It's doing very well. It is primed for success in the next 5 to 10 years. um, there's a very hot space, and
Mm.
it's a massive opportunity to influence students. And they're doing a great job, and if you catch them early, they're bound to stay for a long time. And a
Yeah,
happy
yeah.
member of the community will get more people, and that's how the community grows, that's how the brand grows. And I think it's a very it's a great mission that they have, and something even I am passionate about, being part of communities, exchanging ideas, learning from people. And I wish them all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And guys, with this, it's a wrap. But again, sir, thank you so much for being with us on board
Thank
today.
you.
It was a lovely
Thank
conversation.
you for having
Thank you, sir. The
me. Yeah.
pleasure is all ours. Thank you so much. So with that, it's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much again. Bye.
Thank you.